So we're going to take a look today at how we can use our calculator to help us deal with some of the math that we've done in the past that we've probably felt frustrated by. So dealing with rational numbers, those fractions, those decimals, and just being able to do those in our calculator. So this calculator will actually do all of that for us. So to enter a fraction into our calculator, we're going to use the ABC button. And that ABC button is located right here on our calculator, right? It says ABC. So if we want to enter something like 1 2/3, in our calculator, we will just type the 1, and then the ABC button, then the 2, the ABC button again, and then the 3. And so we'll see this sort of backwards L in between each of them, but that's okay. This is telling us 1 2/3. Now, the key is that when we are entering a fraction, we can't have a fraction on a negative on the bottom of the fraction, in the denominator. Okay, which means we have to be able to adjust for that some way. So there's a couple ways that we can deal with that. We can either recognize that in a fraction, if the negative is in the denominator, that's the same idea as the negative being pulled out in front of that fraction. Okay, or if there's already a negative, right, then those two negatives would make a positive. The other way that you can deal with this is instead of typing the number in as a fraction, we should also understand that a fraction bar is the same thing as division. So in our calculator, we could also do 23 divided by the -2. And then we're going to learn some other ways that we can then flip it into the type of form we want from there. Okay, and that will, as we're working through. So operations using our calculator, so like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, those symbols are all over here on the right-hand side. So if we want to do something like 3 1/3 plus 7 5/6, we're going to type this in just like we were saying with that ABC button. So 3 1/3 is going to be 3 ABC1 ABC3 plus 7 ABC5, ABC6. When we hit equals, we'll see 11, and then we see this U. And in between the 1 and 6, we see a slash. That's telling us that this is 11 and 1/6. Okay, so if we do the next one, 4 ABC2, ABC3, and we're going to subtract off 6 and 1/5. Okay, so again, that U, so this is going to be a -1 and 8/15. The same thing for multiplication and division, so you don't have to worry about any of those rules of when do you flip the fraction or all that stuff, which we should know. But again, this is going to allow you to deal with it. 7 ABC2, ABC3, 1/2. Okay, and we're getting a 15 and 1/3. Okay, now, our calculator can then also take an answer and switch it from a mixed fraction to an improper fraction. So if we remember those words, a mixed fraction is where, just like what we have up above, the large number followed by something smaller, where that improper fraction is where it's all written in one fraction and we might just have a larger number on top of a smaller number. Okay, so our rules are still the same. So for doing our operations, 3 ABC2, ABC3, plus 4 ABC1, ABC2, and we can get out an answer. But maybe we don't want it in this mixed form. So to change that, we're going to press second and then the ABC button. And if we look really carefully right above the ABC button, we'll see something that says ABC and then an arrow pointing to DE, right? A mixed fraction format to an improper fraction format. So if we do second and then ABC, that's going to change the format of it. And so while yes, we did see an answer in this other format of 8 and 1/6, right? If we want our format as an improper fraction, right, that second ABC is going to give it to us. You can hit that second ABC again and it will go both ways. Right? So if we want to give answers as both mixed and improper, we can do exactly what we were doing before, but then adding that second ABC into it. So 8 ABC3, ABC7 plus 1 2/3. Okay, that's giving us our answer of 10 and 2/21. But again, if we hit this second ABC, we're going to get our other format of 212 over 21. Now you might say, Mrs. McKinney, I already know how to multiply and add and I want to do that. No problem. Okay, if you don't want to use your calculator, you don't have to. I just want to show you how you could use your calculator if you needed to. Okay, so on our next one, 7/3 times 4 1/2, right? That little dot means multiplication. So that gives us 10 1/2. And again, I hope we'd be able to do that without a calculator, but if you need it, 21 over 2. And then our last one, 6 2/3. Now on this calculator, be careful because over here on the right is going to be our subtraction, but below our 3 is our negative button. We can't flip-flop those like you can on Casio calculators. So we have to keep those separate. Our parentheses are directly above the 8 and the 9. So parenthesis, -1, ABC1, ABC2, and we'll close up those parentheses. So we will get an 8 1/6. And if we change that format, we will get a 49 over 6. Our calculator will also allow us to go from a decimal to a fraction or fraction to decimal. Now, this could be improper. It can actually be any type of fraction, just so you know. Okay, so we can go from any type of fraction into a decimal. So same rules again, our operations are the same. If we did 2 3/5 plus 1 1/2, okay, and our calculator gives us an answer of 4 1/10, we could still change that into a improper. But if we want to change it into a decimal, we're going to press second and then the PRB button. So our second button is up here and PRB is right above the ABC button, right? And if we look at the light writing above that PRB, we're going to see an F pointing to a D, right? F to D, fraction to decimal, and it goes both ways. So if we do second and then PRB, right, it will give it to us in decimal format. So if we want to give answers as fractions and decimals, if we do 8 3/4 plus 1 2/5, right, we get the 10 3 over 20, but we can also hit second and then PRB and see as a decimal that's 10.15. It works both ways, so if I do 3.52 plus 1.2, I'm going to get 4.72. And if I change that by doing second PRB, I'm going to get 4 18 over 25. Again, whether they're both fractions, both decimals, or one of each, it does not matter. Now your calculator is going to default to decimals the most often. So 11.25, but again, we can always change it. And again, you might say, I already knew that was the same thing. No problem. We can simplify square roots. So to simplify a square root, we want to use our square root button, which is written right above the x squared right here. So to access that, it's going to be our second button. So to pull up a square root, we'll do second and then type that x squared, and it's going to give us the square root. So then we can type in whatever number we want. Right, so if we go across here and we want to find the square roots of numbers, we'll just do that second and then x squared. So second x squared, 1,156 gives us 34. We can type a fraction inside there, no problem. So if we do second square root, we just want to do 9 ABC 25, and that tells us 3/5. Now, the problem comes into play when we have multiple things happening on the top and the bottom. Yes, there's a way you can type that all into your calculator, but I think it is easiest to just worry about the top of the fraction and then worry about the bottom of the fraction. So do this first, oops, which gives us 6. Do the denominator second, which gives us 10, and then worry about this 6/10. Now, your calculator will even reduce it for you, so if you do 6 ABC 10 and just type in that fraction, it will tell you that it's 3/5. And then finally, exponents. So we do have an exponent button for our exponent of 2 over here, and that will allow you to do your basic exponent. However, we might have an exponent that's different than 2. And if we want to do that, we're going to use the up caret button. And that up caret button is directly above the x squared. And it will allow us to type in any exponent after it. So if we want to do 3 to the 5th power, we'll type 3, and then that up caret button, which looks like 2 sides of a triangle, and then the 5. And we get out 243. Now, if it's just 12 squared, then you can use that squared button, and that's fine. We'll get 144. We can do negative exponents. So if we do 6 up caret -2. Okay, weird long decimal. I don't want to write that down. Okay, so I wouldn't even know what to write down. It looks like it's a repeating decimal. My calculator's rounding it. We can just change that into a fraction. We know how to do that. So if we hit second PRB, it tells me that it's actually 1/36. And then finally, again, we're going to type it just like we see it. So we're going to put our parenthesis, then 1 ABC2. We're going to close up the parenthesis. That's not an exponent of 2, so I need to use that up caret button, -3, and we get out 8.